Does money solve problems or create better looking ones? Social media can be more of a drug for people who are super extroverted. Why do successful people struggle with trust? What is something that the textbooks don't teach you about the courtroom? Settlement or trial? Well, the answer is if they don't pay you what they should in settlement, then it's trial.
You kidding me? Come on!
Oh, auto accident. You better call attorney Brian White.
Who's Brian White?
Yo amo al abogado Brian Blanco.
Better than just a law license. He's board certified.
Solo el 3% de los abogados de Texas son certificados por la Barra de Abogados.
You've been in an accident, so call attorney Brian White. Go to attorneybrianwhite.com and set up your free consultation today.
Welcome to the Brian White Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to the Brian White Podcast. This is one of our early podcasts where we're still learning how to make the sausage. You should never see how the sausage is made. But hopefully over time, we will get better at doing this, from learning about what sucks and seeing what is good and do more of that, and hopefully less of the other. $1 million problems. Yes, it's like the more money we got, the more problems we see. Ain't that the truth? Does money solve problems or create better looking ones? Of course, money solves a lot of problems. People who tell you that money does not help or increase happiness are ignorant or lying. I don't know which of the two. Of course, because if you have money, a certain amount of money, then you have freedom with your life. You have freedom to choose, what you can eat. You have freedom to choose, the conditions that you sleep in, so money is a very important component to a base level of happiness. Now, that doesn't mean that because you have money that you're going to be happy. There's plenty of people with a whole bunch of money that aren't happy. And the reason why is because they don't believe that they're happy. Think about that. Social media has definitely hurt authentic relationships. And I think where it's really affected it the most is for certain kinds of people. So as we know that people can be extroverted or they can be introverted, right? And so social media I think can be more of a drug for people who are super extroverted, because they really get a whole bunch of validation from others. That's what they're trying to get. And it also probably pushes a lot of those people into narcissism, where they think that basically they're the center of the whole universe. You've seen it. You've seen people that are like a 6 or a 7, but they think that they're super freaking hot because you can post stuff on social media and you can get a bunch of 4s to comment like, you go girl, or whatever. Yeah, I think it's caused a lot of problems. Why do successful people struggle with trust? Well, let me just tell you, everybody does, even people who are unsuccessful. In fact, I would say people who are unsuccessful probably struggle with it more, because I think successful people move beyond the struggle and understand that you cannot trust people. Like, people will generally act in their own self-interest. So as long as whatever your interest is, coincides with theirs, then you're on the same page. But if things start to shift, then over time, the person is going to, act in basically their own self-interest. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll convince themselves of some other reason why, they have to lie, or why whatever the thing is that doesn't conform with what their stated kind of morals are. And they'll tell themselves some reason why they have to do that. And you'll find that that's just what humans do. Like, almost everybody does that. Do people treat you differently once you become successful? Of course. I mean, people will be like trying to open the door for you. They'll be, oh, Mr. White, we're so glad, and sometimes I'll ask, like, did you know like who I am before? Yes, I know who you are. And I'm like, whoa, that's kind of cool. Whereas if you weren't successful, obviously you wouldn't get that kind of treatment. So unfortunately, folks, that's the way it is. Successful people get perks. The loneliest part of being successful is that you have to surround yourself with people that are like your peers, because if you don't, then your people could like bring you down. So as you get more successful, your group kind of like shrinks. So what I've found is that if you want to be surrounded in a group of people that will help you to continue to be successful, that you have to seek out people that are obviously more successful than you. And if you can't do that, then what you can do is you can actually read books about the same thing, and you can think in your mind, this is like a conversation that I'm having with a friend. Why do successful men stay guarded? This is a question that has been written by a woman right now. Why are you so guarded? This is funny. I mean, number one, I guess that sort of like presupposes that I'm successful and that I'm guarded. And to that I say, I'm not. Is peace more valuable than excitement? I will answer it this way. There are times of your life when excitement is more valuable, particularly if you're younger and you have chances to make a mistake or where things go wrong. Excitement is more valuable. You can make better gains, you can have experiences, all kinds of memories. But as you get older, peace becomes more important because you don't want to lose anything that you have from something exciting that you didn't expect to happen. What is the biggest lie that law schools tell in order to get students? And here's my answer. I don't believe that law schools lie to students in order to get them to come be a student. I never heard anything from a law school making any promises, saying what it would be like at all. I think law schools in general are pretty good about teaching you the law. But then, of course, what they don't tell you about is how to practice law, how to maintain your sanity, how to do a good job. But it's not like they hid that from you because it just wasn't part of what you hired them for. You hired them to teach you, what the law is. And then you have to go practice law. You have to go practice law and figure it out. I don't think I've wasted any energy in my first year of law school. I very much enjoyed it. I remember going to class and thinking, wow, these people want to hear what I have to think about stuff that I just read about. I thought that was great. And then I drove straight home and I would read for 6 hours a night. And just so I could drive back to school the next day, there was no wasted energy. Because then you don't make it. I mean, if you're doing wasted energy and you're in law school, then you're not going to make it. One thing that law school never teaches that determines that if you're actually going to make money, and that is the ability to make a mistake and not just internalize it. Because when you first start practicing law, you're going to make mistakes. And for some people, it can just ruin them. They get so stressed out and they even appear just worn down. And the reason why is because they're internalizing those things, saying that's who they are. They're the person that made the mistake on that case. And you have to understand that you are a professional. And that means that the objective is to do your best and to get better over time. And you have to play the long game. How early should law students start building a personal brand and their reputation? Well, of course, your reputation is very important, and it starts from the very beginning because you could end up going to clerk, let's say, for a judge, and then 10 years later, you could be in front of that judge. And if you were the guy who showed up late or, you quit because of some kind of personality issue with someone else in the court, I would think the judge is going to remember that. So you have to start right away understanding that in this business, your reputation is gold. And so it starts from day one. What type of law looks glamorous from the outside, but is probably miserable on the inside? transactional work. You see these like TV shows, and it's like it looks exciting, and they're making these big deals, and that's not how it is. It's like many hours spent arguing over paperwork, reading paperwork, characterizing paperwork, and then also many hours figuring out how to bill. So like you'll actually spend hours preparing your bill. It's the whole thing is not exciting. What do students need to know about law school debt? Well, guys, guess what? Going to law school is expensive. And if you don't pay for it while you're in school, then of course you're going to have debt. That debt will take longer to pay off than what you think. But here's the thing. If you ever get a big hit, you should pay off your school debt first. What I did was I was making payments on my school debt for 10 years, and then I got a big hit where I had an extra $75,000. And instead of paying myself that money, I wrote that $75,000 check to the bank and paid off my student debt, and then I was free. And the reason why I did that was because I looked and I saw that even though I'd been paying on this thing for like 10 years, I hadn't even touched the principal. So you could just keep paying forever. So pay off your student loans, make the sacrifice as soon as possible. How important are relationships in becoming a successful attorney? Well, obviously they're important because you have to have a reputation as being trustworthy, that you do what you say, and that you're capable. So if you don't have relationships with people, then people wouldn't know anything about you. What is something that the textbooks don't teach you about the courtroom? And that is how to be presentable. Like it doesn't teach you, how to be personable with, not only like you have to be personable with even the bailiff, your client, and then also at the beginning of the whole case, when, every time the jury comes in the room, you need to stop what you're doing and you need to look at the door and smile at them as they come in, because you're greeting them into your living room. There's so many people that they'll be over here shuffling their papers, or they'll be like bickering with someone, and then of course, like the jury walks in, and the impression that gives is just not favorable, and they have no idea that they're even doing anything wrong because it wasn't part of their little mock trial thing or something, and it's just unbelievable. That's why a lot of times you'll see the very best courtroom lawyers were not the A students. They were like the B and C students. But the reason why they were B and C is because they had a social life and they, didn't spend all their time at the library. Well, they end up being much better courtroom lawyers. Have I ever lost a case that emotionally affected me? And the answer is yes. Every single case that I've lost, it's been very painful. There's been a couple of cases early on that we knew we were going to lose. There was a case where I was working at a firm and I was given a file and I was told that you cannot settle the case unless they pay you X. And I was like, they're never going to do that. This is a complete, the case shouldn't even, it's a horrible case. But they wanted someone to go down there and just swing at the fences. And everybody knew that I was going to lose, or that anybody would lose. It was a case where the client had lied, and all these other bad things happened. He's probably at fault for the crash. So, I worked on that case hard, and I lost it, and I still felt upset. I still was like questioning it, everything, when I already knew that this is a case that cannot be won, and no one even thought it was going to be one. But I will tell you that opposing counsel was upset because he was expecting for the loss to be worse than it actually was. So in like a way, it was kind of like a win of a loss, but it was still a loss. So I would say that every single loss hurts badly and provides motivation for getting better and to not ever let that happen again. The worst drivers in Houston are the people that have the white Honda Civics. Everybody knows that the white Honda Civics are the worst, probably criminals, probably on the way back from shoplifting. The most overrated legal TV show is I don't know because I don't watch any of them. The question is coffee or energy drinks during trial prep? Coffee, of course. Guys, do you want to have a heart attack and die in the middle of your case? Because that's like the worst way to lose a case is to die. So I would say coffee, not energy drinks. One thing that I would ban from courtrooms immediately is grumpy judges. Like sometimes you'll have a judge yell at you because they're grumpy, but then it's interpreted by the jury as maybe there's something wrong with your case. I think it's unfair. And so I think if you're a grumpy person, don't become a judge. Biggest pet peeve with clients is when they don't do what we say. And they say that they're going to do what we say, so then we make plans on that, and then they don't do what we say. And so a lot of times that deals with people posting on social media and doing things like that. So do what we say. If I was not an attorney, I would be, guys, I don't know, because I've been being an attorney for 23 years. It's impossible for me to conceive of doing anything else. This is what I've worked on every single day for the last 23 years, trying to get better, going to conferences, doing all kinds of things to learn from your mistakes, to, get exposed to all different kinds of cases. I can't imagine doing anything else. Guilty pleasure TV show. I don't currently have one. I like when like the new things come out, like there was Beef that came out on Netflix, or way before that there was the Game of Thrones. But I like it when there's a show that comes out that becomes like a cultural kind of thing where everybody can kind of like bond on what happened at the Game of Thrones. Oh my God, they chopped off his head. He was the main character. Those kinds of things. I like that. Do I enjoy watching myself on TV or social media? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I don't usually do it, but they say that you're supposed to because that's how you can get better. So I guess I'm going to have to do that. One word that describes Houston courtrooms is lovely. And the reason why is because the judges are so good, and I respect all of them. I think they're all fair, and really I'm rooting for each and every one of them to stay on the bench as long as possible. Settlement or trial? Well, the answer is if they don't pay you what they should in settlement, then it's trial.
Have you ever Googled yourself?
Yes, I have Googled myself. I Google myself all the time. Well, I mean, I do a whole bunch of advertising, so I'm trying to see if it pulls up. What is the smartest thing a law student can do today to stand out in a flooded market? Well, I think it's to, while you're in school, do an internship at a firm. A lot of times, if you do an internship at a firm and you do good work and you're friendly, then you've got a job set up. Like you're like home free. So go to a firm, do good work, and then you got a backup plan.
This or that is you're only going to
This or that. So are they going to hear your voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Let's do that. They hear my voice, so you don't have to repeat me.
Okay.
But I just need you to pick one. Okay. So this or that, settle or go to trial. One or the other.
I can't pick that. It depends.
Okay. Neither. Both. Call the police or exchange information.
Call the police.
ER or urgent care.
ER.
Dash cam or no dash cam.
No dash cam.
Text or call the insurance company.
Call the insurance company.
Lawyer first or insurance company first.
Lawyer first.
Toyota or Tesla.
Ooh, that's a
Which
tough.
gets into more claims.
Toyota.
Motorcycle or truck. More dangerous.
Motorcycle.
Highway or neighborhood streets.
Highway.
Seatbelt or airbag.
Seatbelt.
Witness or security camera.
Security camera.
Cash settlement or jury verdict.
Cash settlement because it's certain.
Mediation or courtroom.
Courtroom.
Negotiation or litigation.
I love them both.
Soft tissue injury or broken bone.
Broken bones.
Chiropractor or physical therapist.
Physical therapist.
Ice or heat after an accident.
Ice.
Driver or passenger?
Driver.
Rear end collision or T-bone collision?
T-bone.
Rain or night driving?
Rain.
Distracted driver or drunk driver?
Drunk driver.
Speeding or tailgating?
Speeding.
SUV or sedan?
SUV.
And last, photo evidence or video evidence?
Video evidence. And as always, if you are a stalker watching this, because only like 10 people are watching, which means that you may be a stalker, I love you. So thank you for listening to the Brian White podcast, where we are still in the process, which I always say, of making sausage, and no one wants to know how that's made. And this is my journey of learning and hopefully making a podcast, but learning from the mistakes, figuring out what works and making that better. So this is still me just putting up stuff on the wall, not even examining what is crappy or good. So we hope that you thought it was good and not crappy. Remember, if you're in a crash, give me a call, do it right, and get Brian White.
Thanks for tuning into the Brian White Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification button so you don't miss an episode.